Hey, what's up, Daily Dose? Jeff Morris here. I'm one of the pastors on the Vista campus, and today we're in our series of our favorite Jesus stories. And for me, one of those is in John chapter 4 when Jesus speaks to a Samaritan woman. Now, it's a pretty famous passage of scripture because in this, Jesus begins to break down all sorts of religious boundaries and social norms. First, he's speaking to a woman. Secondly, he's speaking to a Samaritan, and Jews and Samaritans didn't really mix together well. But then thirdly, he's speaking to a woman who has to go to the well where he's sitting around noon, which is one of the hottest parts of the day. See, in that time, women would come to the well in the early morning when it was still a little bit cooler, gather the water for the day, and then go back. But when this woman has to go at noon, it speaks so much about who she is or who people think she is. See, she has to go out there because she's an outcast. She's not accepted by her society, by her culture, or by her people. And so Jesus begins to speak to her, and he speaks to her hope. And he's speaking to her about a living water that she can have, that she can attain, that only comes from him. Now, it's within this that she's starting to get excited, and Jesus tells her, because she says, I want this living water, I want this hope, I want this new life. And Jesus tells her in verse 16, John chapter 4, verse 16, he says, "Go, call your husband and come back." And she says, I have no husband, she replied. And Jesus told her, "You are right when you say you have no husband. The fact is you have had 5 husbands, and the man you are now with is not your husband. What you have said is quite true." And she replies, "Well, I see that you're a prophet." Now, it's in this moment that we think, oh, dang, Jesus just caught her. He just caught her in her sin. There she is, man. She's had 5 husbands. She's living with a dude that's not her husband. Like, oh, Jesus, wow. But I don't think Jesus is catching her in her sin in this moment. I think what Jesus is doing is letting her know that he knows her situation and he can identify with her. He knows her pain. The reason why I say this is because, again, in that culture, in that day and age, for a woman to get a divorce was highly unlikely. To be offered a certificate of divorce, it didn't happen. And especially if it did happen, it wouldn't happen 5 times. So this woman has either been left or widowed by 5 different men. And the one that she's with now probably isn't because she loves him or she has a passion for him. More than likely, it's just because she needs protection and provision. See, Jesus isn't trying to catch her in her sin. He's trying to capture her with his grace, with his goodness, with his mercy. He's letting her know, I know what you've been through. I know that you've been hurt, and I'm offering you something that's so much more fulfilling and so much better. You see, that's the God that we serve. He's not trying to catch you in your sin. He's trying to capture you with his grace. He's letting you know that he understands what life has dealt you. He understands what you've been through. He knows the hard things you've faced, and he's here to offer you a greater hope than you could have ever imagined. So as you go throughout this day, be reminded that we serve a great God who's willing to break through all sorts of social boundaries and religious norms in order to meet with you and offer you hope. See ya.